Lisa and Amy here, and today we're going to talk about
sepia ink.
So sepias are something that a lot of customers ask about, especially at shows. We get asked. It's one of those colors that one name means so many different things.
Yeah, so I actually looked up the definition of what sepia ink is, because before I started working here, to me sepia was about photography, and making pictures look old, so you add a sepia filter. But so now that we're in the ink world, I looked up the definition of sepia, which this is the definition: a reddish brown color named after the rich brown pigment derived from the ink sac of the common cuttlefish, which is a mollusk, and also squid are in that same family.
I guess octopus are too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the definition of the sepia,
And that's a
as
pretty
in
broad
what we're
term.
talking about it. I also did like 30 seconds of research, so now I'm an expert in all things sepia. So apparently the ink that the cuttlefish and also squid produce, is to warn off predators of it. So it depends on if they come from the deep, deep depths of the sea or a little bit shallower depths of the sea. That's the
determines the
ink
color?
that they emit. So it's pretty interesting.
That is, to me, that's really interesting.
I think it's
And
interesting.
I know you came from the art world as well, but when you did painting and other types of art, you didn't really deal with sepias as much?
No.
Okay.
Not
You
at
did a
all.
lot of black, right?
Yeah.
Like when you were, with your handwriting, you were doing a lot of black before.
Yeah, so this is, really my first go around with
Fountain.
sepia. Yeah, with sepia ink. So it's interesting. There's so many different shades of sepia, even though the traditional definition is reddish brown color. As you'll see in the swatches that we've done, it's a wide range of reddish brown. So
And we did not cover them all. Like there's
Yeah.
several not included. There's several inks that have the name sepia that are not included in this. And you did. So we're saying the word sepia, but some people say sepia. And you,
well,
she checked this.
in about 30 seconds of
research.
Yeah, so it apparently is pronounced sepia.
Really? Yes. That's how I said it.
So sepia.
But I had
sepia.
several people that tell me, they come up to me at different things and they'll say, I'm looking for the perfect sepia.
Yeah.
And,
Some
you
people
know.
do say sepia, but I've always said sepia, and I'm going to stick with it.
And when you
So,
looked it up, that's
what it
how
said.
they pronounced it on the, Google Life,
Google
whatever it is.
pronunciation.
Yes. Okay. Tells you what I know. My tech savvy wording. So today we're going to cover 8. We're going to cover 8 inks with the name sepia. Sepia. Oh gosh. Potato. Okay, this is getting weird. Once again, I say it pretty much every video, we are open. So it is possible for people to either come up to us, or for you to hear the doors, or for you to hear a mic in the background making squeaky noises, that kind of thing.
And my
But-
coughing, I'm still sick.
Yes. And I'm so sorry. As the leaves are turning, it's not helping, I know. And we've had so much weird weather, too, here. So, let's see. Okay, you start.
Okay. So the first one we're going to talk about is the paper Plume sepia. It comes in this cute little bottle. This is 30 ml. And it's cute.
Yeah, it has a nice little logo that you think of with New Orleans.
The fleur-de-lis.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or fleur-de-lis.
Fleur de lis.
So it is actually, so I wrote with it in a brush, and then I also wrote with it with a Bach nib, extra fine, medium, and broad. So I would consider this paper Plume sepia to be more of a orangey sepia. What do you think?
I think it's definitely got some undertones of orange or red in there, for sure. It's not strongly brown. I wouldn't call it a red-brown for sure.
And it's not very saturated, the color.
No, they do have a lot of shading in their inks in general. The paper Plume uses the French method for ink making. And so they tend to have a lot of shading going on.
It's nice,
I'm
yeah.
a fan of. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'm a fan of sheens too. But with shading inks, they tend to dry faster. So that's kind of a cool thing too. We appreciate fast drying inks.
So next is a Califolio, which what's cool about the Califolio is that it comes in a little triangular bottle. And it also, which is 40 ml, and it also comes in a pouch that's 50 ml. So it's kind of nice, environmentally friendly-ish, I guess.
Do not drink.
It looks like the little pouches for toddlers. I was like,
I know.
the little
It actually
squeeze
says do
pouches.
not drink on there.
Yeah, that's good.
Ne pas boire.
We need warnings. So I really love this sepia color.
Mm-hmm. We were talking about this before it started, that we both like this one a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a fan of Califolio anyway, but the way it writes with a dark, like when you see it in an extra fine and a fine nib in particular, it's a really nice dark brown with just, I would say, very little hint of a red undertone.
I would say that too. I was even going to go so far as say a little bit of a blush pink undertone to it. But
I was just thinking about how we describe things. I wonder. So, yeah, I think so too. We actually like this one. I would consider this to be something along the lines of what the cuttlefish might produce. Because it would definitely, be dark enough that it would, prevent predators from seeing it in the water.
yeah, it would show up in the water, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Darken.
Yeah. I like it, and I like the shading a lot.
I do too.
Of it.
I think you ended up with almost all shading inks.
I think I did.
Browns,
Yeah.
actually mine are too. Maybe browns tend to shade. So
Okay, so our third one is the Encre Classique. It comes in a 30 ml bottle.
it's a cute little bottle.
It's also a cute little
And it's a
bottle.
nice wide opening to get your ink out of. It's not so deep that you can't just get the whole nib in there either. I like this. And they're reasonably priced. They're made by the same company that makes Califolio.
So it's a nice,
I think it has almost a, I don't want to say green, but
I was going to say gray.
yeah,
But-
grayish.
Almost a grayish green undertone to it. But also a really nice shading ink.
It shades even in that extra fine nib.
Yeah.
And this was done on copy paper, right? Because it's,
No, this was Rhodia.
oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, this was Rhodia.
So this is
paper.
Rhodia paper.
Yeah. Okay, so our fourth one is the De Atramentis Sepia Brown, which is one of the darkest of the 8 of the sepias that we're going to talk about. To me, this looks like what I would consider like squid ink, I don't know. It's because it's
it's
really
so
dark. Yeah. The sepia, I mean, in my head, I would not consider this a sepia tone. I would say it's more like a chocolate brown.
Yeah, I don't see any red-ish
No.
and in that one.
No. But it's a pretty color.
It is.
I just
like
wouldn't
it.
consider it sepia, even
It's
though they
definitely
call
a
it
dark
sepia.
color. But there are people who are of the opinion this is, it's not just a couple, but quite a few people consider this to be close to what they would call true sepia. But by the definition that you have, I don't see any red in it at all. Like, maybe I'm wrong though. You guys go ahead and feel free to comment below about that.
I mean, I don't think there's a wrong and a right with sepia. I think that there's just many tones of sepia.
And even by the fact that you said, deeper in the water, you would see different colors than you would from the cuttlefish that are more shallow,
And by the way, I don't necessarily think that these inks contain actual cuttlefish ink.
No, I hope not.
I mean, I know there are some inks out there that do contain squid ink. I just don't think that
the color just
these-
simply comes from that.
Yeah, yeah. We would be able to smell it. I just saw, I can't remember who it was, that I wish I could remember who it was. Someone I follow on Instagram, and he was talking about how he ordered some squid ink or sepia ink or something, and it smelled like the sea. So I'm quite certain that none of the inks we're talking about today contain actual cuttlefish ink. So
Yeah, I agree with you. None of them do.
Okay.
I feel like they would say so.
yeah,
They also probably would be more expensive.
probably. Yeah.
So, on my list of 4, we have Diamine Sepia. And Diamine actually comes in a couple of sizes. It comes in this 80 ml, and then you can also get the more narrow 30 ml bottles as well. The 30 mls are plastic, where this is a glass bottle. And I guess I should have opened it, but you know, Diamine has like a classic look to the bottle. I feel like, you know, it's got the gold top. It's got the nice little, it's a square shape. It's always a good choice as far as bottles go.
I like their labels. The lettering that they use.
Since
on
they've
the
changed it,
labels.
I really like the new ones. So, there's a little bit of shading, not a ton, and it is not a, I don't even know if I could call it brown.
I think it's a very yellow sepia.
It's not, in my mind, this is probably if this is something that can be said, it's the least compatible with what I think of as sepia or sepia. So it's definitely lighter. You can tell it's just so much lighter than the rest, and definitely more yellow undertone than the rest. So Roar and Klingner is next. R and K is what is commonly known as. It comes with it has like a nice silver metal bottle, a lid, and then it's glass. The color number is 4610 if you are looking at it that way. It is a 50 ml bottle. It is dark. I think it's darker than, I'm looking at the Diatramentis. I feel like it's darker than the Diatramentis sepia also.
Yeah, so the
They're very
Roar and
similar.
Klingner sepia compares to the Diatramentis sepia.
I would
They're
consider
very
those
similar.
two in the same family for sure. And I'm not seeing any shading or sheen. It's a really nice, evenly toned ink. Some people want like every word to come out exactly the same. You know, you don't want shading or sheen. You just want an even ink. I would say that this does that. It is on the dark side. I'm not seeing much red in it, or any really. I don't know. I mean,
It's a grayish tone sepia for sure. I like it. I think it's a pretty color.
and I can appreciate an evenly toned ink because not every time do you need something that shades or sheens, right? So that's the R and K. And then the next one that I have is the Platinum Pigment Sepia, and I actually like this one a lot.
Yeah.
I like this in the Calfolio. And when it comes to Platinum, this is the pigment version of the ink. So it's got little nanoparticles in it. And this is the nice shaped bottle that they make. I like this bottle actually. It has a plastic lid on it instead of the metal lids that we've been seeing with a lot of these inks. And
this
these
is a
do come in
permanent?
sample. It is permanent. This is a permanent ink. It's water resistant. It's all the things. Light fast. So this is a really good choice if you're looking for. I feel like it has the red undertones in it, and it is a brown. When you write with it, especially in that broad nib, you get, you know, in my mind, this is pretty close to what I would consider true sepia. Now, the extra fine and fine nibs have some really nice shading going on. And you did this with the Bach nib, but I imagine that with the Japanese nibs, you'd get some shading as well. We like this one a lot. And finally, I have the Platinum IG Sepia Black. So, with that one, it's the same. It's very same bottle, but this is actually an iron gall ink. So the modern iron gall inks are not the same as what you think of as the ones that were made in, you know, 1500s, 1600s, or even the 1700s. So these inks are very much fountain pen friendly. We have tested them. We've had customers that have tested them, and this particular one has been around for a year and a half or maybe 2 years. The platinum iron galls. And they did a great job of testing to make sure that they washed out easily before they were even putting these on the market. Because platinum makes pens as well, and they want to make sure their inks are safe in all the pens. So this ink also is one that I might consider fairly close, although it just has a little bit more green undertone.
It's got a lot, to me it has a lot of green undertone to it, which I personally love in that shade. I do like an iron gall ink. This one is Sepia Black is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I don't know how sepia it is for you guys, but I like it.
Keep in mind with the iron gall, I forgot to mention that the color does slowly change. So when you lay down the ink, it's going to lay down one color when you're using iron gall, but when you go back to it a couple of minutes later, the color's going to change, and it will darken over time, and it'll have some depth to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I like it a lot.
And it does have just a little bit of shading going on. And Amy did use the Bach nibs, and then what did you did a brush?
It was
pen?
a watercolor brush, yeah.
Okay, so watercolor brush was used for her, the larger version on the side here, to give you the artistic side of how these inks work. And we do have a lot of artists that come in and have questions about these inks as well, because they don't just use them for writing in their journals or signing papers. They use them for art projects as well, just like we do.
So with these 8, if we're going to compare these 8 sepias, I feel like that the Califolio and the Platinum Pigment are pretty closely the same color.
I think they are. This has just a smidge more red undertone.
Red, I think it does.
But I think both of them are what, after looking at the definition and looking at the inks, I consider these to be closest to what probably is the definition of the sepia inks.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I really like the Diatramentis and the Roaring Klinger.
The Roaring Klinger are very similar.
But I like
deep
them.
brown. Yeah, I like them too.
They're almost a brown-black.
Almost, yeah. Yeah. And then the Platinum Iron Gall and the Encre Classique are a little bit
similar. Other than one is going to be waterproof and one is not.
So the Diamine stands out on its own out of these 8.
It does.
It's very gold, yellow. So
I wouldn't have. I don't consider this a sepia or sepia, really. Sorry, keep getting mixed up. I've had so many.
It doesn't matter.
No, potato.
Yeah.
Okay, so out of these, tell me your favorite.
Oh gosh, this is the worst question when people come in. What's your favorite?
If it changes by the hour.
If I had to purchase one of these 8 inks for a sepia, I would probably select the Platinum
Drum
Pigment.
roll, please.
The Platinum Pigment sepia.
That's what I would pick too.
You would?
Yeah. I had already